Sing along with fellow students at the annual holiday concert. Dress up for the annual winter ball. Attend the conference at the Africa Global Forum. Go on a career trek. Visit various companies worldwide. Now these are just some of the activities at Wharton's MBA program. The word holistic development is bandied about on a regular basis in the pamphlets of Indian B schools. But then, like other theoretical frameworks, it gets restricted to these very papers. How much of an importance are we actually attributing to individuals' development in our B schools? Can we really say that knowing Porter's five forces, Porter's 4 Ps, Fama-French's model, or Nash's equilibrium is enough to guide us through our careers? Our B schools have a lot to teach us about theories and frameworks. But let us ask ourselves, how many of us actually know how to write a full-fledged research paper? How many of us have actually attended conferences in the past? Why is all this restricted to only FPM students in our country? This attitude leaves us nowhere, stuck in the middle like one of Porter's various frameworks is. The great Indian MBA program reached its peak somewhere around 2005, just before the subprime crisis hit all of us. It suddenly dawned upon various mothers that their MBA sons were actually highly undervalued. With stories of 50 lakh packages and foreign jobs, their eyes suddenly lit up like cash registers on fire. And as history goes, the MBA sons became mythological creatures in wedding circles. The social network might have brought the world closer, but this neighborhood network was faster than anything else. And suddenly we started hearing folklores of 1 crore packages and private jets after an MBA. This is where the hype started. Now, a management student goes through various case studies to understand the intricacies of handling a business, the choices that corporates make, their mistakes and their successes. The basic intent behind a syllabus is novel indeed, but how far are we actually showing our students the reality? Why aren't we asking them to go into the field and interact with customers? Why aren't we asking them to observe real-life case studies rather than sticking to pages and pages of what the Harvard Business School thinks about Indian businesses? The chasm between theory and reality is what sets our businesses back, especially because aren't our businesses actually dependent on this very talent? Now, a key aspect of an MBA is peer learning. In B schools across India, on an average, more than 75% of students come from an engineering background, out of which a majority are from the IT industry. Now, when our selection process is so biased towards a single exam, can we really expect anything else? How are we to learn from our peers when so many of them come from the same background? Also, the stepfatherly treatment meted out to our executive MBA programs is not acceptable. Which are the premier programs in our country? These executive programs are the premier programs in our country, targeted specifically at working class individuals. Now, as long as this executive program plays second fiddle, we cannot actually expect development for this program as a whole. Now, currently, this executive program in various B schools is nothing but a means to develop industry contacts. Why? To secure stellar placements for the regular program students. Now, one point I'd like to emphasize upon is the way we bloat our students' ego. And not just us, even the companies that visit our campus find it a competitive necessity to feed their pride. Which institute has not heard a company reiterate, these are the best set of students we have seen across the country. Now, say these things 100 times in the 2-year span and we start thinking we are handcrafted beings brought down to earth to serve humankind. Now, how long will this bubble last? An MBA grad, when joining a firm, needs his peers to look at him like he's the new rock star in town. He needs attention, needs that company accommodation that is located a stone's throw away from the beach, and needs to take selfies from that newly opened pub on the 35th floor of the business hub of the city. Now, but how long will this actually, how long till he's actually asked to make that very first presentation to his client? How long before he starts realizing that the world in reality is not just a case solution, but a fuzzy network of decisions that do not follow any fixed pattern? We aren't creating humble, skilled human beings. We are creating balloons. Balloons that are filled with air and which can't even take the prick of a needle. Yes, there are always those few who make it to the top, but those few who know how to get something out of this course and don't make a huge fuss out of it. But how much is the system as a whole helping them to do this? We need to ask us this question. Let us talk about placements now. Why is the PlaceCom considered to be the most popular choice among students who join these committees? It just shows how much of an importance we actually place to placements. If our jobs post an MBA fail to pay as much as they do now, do you think there would be this mad rush to join this course? The 2 years go by making Excel sheets, PowerPoints, reading cases and attending lectures, but we hardly get to develop ourselves as people of caliber, as human beings who should feel responsible for our actions being set to for our actions basically, because we are set to capture positions of responsibilities in the future. Now, we rely on books and frameworks when we enter jobs to guide us through our careers. But we need to realize that the MBA should make us different people from what we were when we entered the college. We should be able to take rational, well thought out decisions that are in sync with reality and which do not create an environment of hatred or harm. The tools and framework should just guide us through this process, making our job something more than just a hit or trial. But ultimately, it should be our thoughts that should change, our approach that should undergo the transformation, and this is what our B schools fail to do. Why is there no emphasis on the self-development of an individual? Is knowledge of various tools enough to make us competitive in the global market? Our B schools need to cultivate an environment of freedom, an environment encouraging future leaders to take bold decisions that are in sync with our surroundings, rather than follow just certain textbooks. They need to make us adventurous, innovative, and humble human beings who would not hesitate to stay with a customer in a hut in rural Andhra Pradesh just for 3 or more days, just surviving on rice and curd to eat. We need to be free, not just physically, but mentally as well. We need to stop churning out idols from our B schools. The average age in an Indian B school is less than 24 years, but it is more than 27 years in leading B schools abroad. Isn't MBA education supposed to create leaders who need to have worked at the ground level to understand the intricacies and the fundamental problems of a business? Our B schools have become placement-oriented, brand-hungry institutions that follow a fixed code to pummel entrance into leading buildings across Mumbai, Delhi and Bangalore. If not undertake a dramatic change, we should at least be humble enough to accept the fact that our courses are overrated. Or should we?
Every year, over 2 lakh students are trying to get into the premier institutes of our country, but only less than 1% of the total applicants actually make it. Isn't it natural then that there should be a hyper on this process? In our country with an ever increasing population, are the current B schools even enough to cater to the demands of the growing corporate sector? Let's take an example of Sahaj E-Village, which is an initiative that enables financial inclusion by bridging the gap between rural and urban India. Now, it's helping the implementation of the National E-Governance Plan by appointing banking correspondents across various states. Would this initiative have been possible without one of the various Indian B schools that we're talking about here? Let us talk about the differences in Indian B schools program vis-a-vis a foreign program. Now, our programs are structured in such a way that even people who are not sure about their career path or who want to accelerate their career path both can benefit from it. Those with a clear career path can still change themselves and not be overawed by the structure of it, which is not actually possible in the case of a foreign context. Also, those who want to accelerate their career paths are presented with enough opportunities to compete against the very best in the country. Another advantage is the fee. With an average fee of around 12 to 15 lakhs compared to the 70 to 90 lakhs abroad, it presents for a significantly reduced financial burden, especially in such volatile times. Now, with packages ranging around the same region, the return on investment, if I may use the word, is very high. The break-even period can be as low as 3 years. Can we expect the same luxury fee study abroad? Also, the non-monetary benefits exist here. The methodology adopted at an Indian B school is rigorous enough to challenge students intellectually and make them more productive. Now, the amount of project work, the case discussions, the classes throughout the day and at times even after midnight, all of this put together pose for a vast amount of challenges. Let's talk about the networking in Indian B schools. So, isn't it? So, I agree that there is no textbook that is handed out to us to know how to go about it. But how many times have we asked our friends from schools, colleges, neighborhoods, and even those who meet at summer camps to fill out the surveys? How many times have we asked them to give us contacts about companies? How many times have we spammed their inboxes with details about our B Fest and all? So we network, that's it. So throughout, our MBA teaches us to network throughout our 2 years here, and we also learn to do it outside or after passing out from the MBA. So we learn that asking for help isn't exactly a bad thing because it's a win-win situation. MBA makes us realize the importance of connecting with a lot of people. Now, if we compare the syllabus between an Indian B school and abroad, we wouldn't really find a lot of differences, but there will be differences in the non-theoretical aspects of teaching. Now, it would be wrong to say that the Indian B schools do not focus on the aspect. primarily because they do provide us with a lot of opportunities for growth in this regard rather than enforcing anything on us. There are a lot of clubs, committees, case-based events, presentations, industry interactions, and cultural events and even conferences that help us develop as a person. Now it is up to us to utilize these avenues and develop as a person. How can we blame the system if when we ourselves do not take initiatives? Individualism is a product of Western culture, and it is also a reason why a lot of people, a lot of students abroad actually have such diverse capabilities. Now a B school is as good as the students studying in it. Now hence it is important that we ourselves change our attitudes rather than changing our own institutions. Yes, we do give a lot of importance to packages and placement, but why is that even considered wrong? Apart from making lives of the students easier here, it actually allows them to focus on rather important things like shaping our future. Now this hype that people talk about is why leading bankers offer educational loans so easily to the MBA grads. Now are we not facilitating a holistic education process by providing students all of these? One major aspect that we should talk about is the timeline post MBA. Now an Indian B school places the majority of the students in a job within the country. Now when we talk about a B school in some other nation, how many jobs are within that same country? Also, how many of these students are from that country itself? India in its growing stage needs a lot of managerial acumen. Now aren't our B schools thus providing the same? How many students who study abroad actually come back to our country to pursue their career? As you've seen, the financial burden actually stops them from doing this. So there is an immediate burden of repaying the huge loans which prevent them from coming back. So how are these institutes then adding value to our nation? Bringing executive MBAs into the picture, now a number of Indian managers are actually, who are enrolling for these programs is on a rise. A lot of managers in our country, though they're really good in their specific field, they're unable to professional approaches to your business. Now to expand their businesses, they would need that extra bit of knowledge that an MBA, that an executive MBA program will provide them. Now top B schools have actually recognized this need gap, and they're developing programs that for such individuals. When such an institution grows to provide creating experiences in the field of management, how can we still call it just being overrated? Because of the 2-year program in our country, this allows for even non-experienced individuals to actually get used to the various aspects of a business before choosing what career path they want to get into. Now the first year program is just designed for this. While a majority of European B schools offer a 1-year program, expecting that the individuals who join a program will have already gained enough experience prior to joining MBA. Now aren't we being more flexible in this regard? Aren't we being more open to a lot of individuals then? Do you still think that Indian MBA is hyped up?
We talk about how Indian B schools are flexible enough to offer entry to students even below 23 years of age. Actually, my colleague even talked about how it is beneficial to people who are unsure of their career plans. I would like to ask them, if people are unsure of what career to pursue, how can we give them entry into an institute based on their current thought processes? What if these thoughts then change later on? Aren't we missing out on offering this very same opportunity to a student who is sure of doing an MBA to succeed in his or her life? Our B schools don't even ask for proper SOPs, and even if they do, there is hardly any attention given to it during the selection process. Those who have excelled throughout their schools, throughout their colleges, and every other place that they have stepped foot on, these are the type of individuals that our B schools are looking for. Irrespective of their career goals, we let them into our system. Bring 200 such people, and it is enough to soak out the entire purpose behind our MBA programs. This is why our B schools are overrated. We fail to recognize those who we have given an opportunity to. We see what the companies want, that is mechanical and hardworking individuals, rather than passionate leaders who would actually make a difference to the society as a whole.
My teammate here talked about how our B schools do not make us responsible individuals. The Indian MBA program does provide opportunities to develop oneself. Courses like business ethics and organizational behavior help us in understanding the human aspect of a business. They make us question dubious practices and help us in becoming more responsible. How are they not making us more adventurous and innovative? They provide us with many opportunities to work in rural India and help us solve the challenges there. How many of our classmates came back with exciting opportunities of working in rural India? The Indian case studies are in demand across the world. More than 320 business schools use IB's India cases. They present a unique context which help understand the nuances of doing a business in India. They're as close to a real life situation in India as they can get. We need more premier institutes that can shape our country's future. Till then, the attention, of course, will be only towards the existing ones. Agree that the average age is lower, but isn't it providing an opportunity for people to switch their careers early? Many talented people who are not satisfied with their jobs are signing up for these programs, not just because of the higher salaries, but they want to get into positions where they can make a difference and lead a fulfilling life. Why else would they leave behind with high-paying jobs?
My teammate talked about how Indian cases are becoming popular worldwide. The cases might be, okay, but how often are we actually offering our students the experiences of ground reality? There are certain colleges that do so, but why can't this be a common practice across all the B schools in India? This practice of actually going the practical way needs to be incorporated more into our system. My teammate also talked about networking in Indian B schools. Now let us talk about networking in Indian B schools vis-a-vis the foreign B schools. Networking in Indian B schools is all about asking people to fill forms, surveys, asking them to attend our B Fest, go for sponsorships and so on. Whereas networking in a foreign B school, on the other hand, would mean visiting firms both within the country and outside, visiting conferences, interacting with leading academicians and industrialists abroad, and working in groups with people from across the world through diverse career backgrounds and from a variety of academic backgrounds too. Now we will not get the value of all of this until we have experienced this in real life. People teach you more than anything else, and then and we here have almost identical people across the institute. We need to ask ourselves as to how much we will actually get out of this course.
Why do you want to do an MBA? Now that's the million-dollar question. Agree that we do not write SOPs, but we all know that if we do not have genuine intentions, it's impossible to convince the panel. Now one may be clueless about what career path they want to choose later, but that's what the whole program in the first year is for. Who says that the students who join in these institutes do not have the passion to be leaders? The companies that hire these students have their own leadership programs that help them choose the best of the lot. There are a number of people who choose to become entrepreneurs after finishing their MBAs. There are even more instances of people starting up their own businesses after working for a few years. Now, how can we then say that the program doesn't turn these students into leaders? An increasing number of students are even choosing to join startups, where they can use their entrepreneurial skills to lead the company. Talk about self-development. Now that is within the hands of the student. Though there are no exotic career treks or holiday concerts, Indian B schools do have ties with best institutes abroad, where students can go for an exchange program to gain more experiences.
I believe that an Indian MBA is no less than any else in terms of the syllabus, but when it comes to practical aspects of a business, we are still way behind. This is because our industry interactions are primarily limited to classrooms and events, and our customer interaction, on the other hand, is almost nil, restricted to internships, and that too in very few cases. The fact of the matter is that Indian B schools are currently overrated, and the sooner we accept this, the sooner we will actually improve the entire ecosystem. The farther we move away from this reality, we will realize that we are actually causing damage to these very institutions that shape the future of our nation.
I think that each year, the MBA graduates are passing on from premier institutes with more and more capabilities of handling a business effectively. By calling these institutes, which are the pillars of our nation, as being overrated, I think it's unfair, because they prove themselves over time, and I believe that they'll continue to do so.